Yeah, welcome in. Welcome back to another episode of the Format Podcast Live, Wednesday edition. Yes. Myself, the Transformer, we're here to bring you that good sports talk. Right now it looks a little slow in the chat, so that's cool. We'll hold up a little bit, wait for some people to get in here, and then we will get it going. So yeah, man, what's good, Transformer, while we wait, man?
What's good, my boy? What's happening?
Ain't nothing, man. Trying to make it happen, and a lot going on in the world of sports, man. Hard to keep up with it all, but it's all good.
Boy, I feel like every 10 minutes I got to check my phone for something.
Yeah, man. It's always something. It's crazy. It is crazy. I think we have we got some good topics here tonight, man. I'm looking forward to talking about this stuff. We got some interesting quick hits, and then we got the topics on the side here. So definitely looking forward to getting into that with the people.
Yeah.
Drama therapy. What's good? How you doing? Good to see you, and I appreciate the love. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.
Drama therapy.
I like that.
I feel like that's a double entendre, ain't it? Like drama
and
therapy.
I
like the name. I like the name.
Yeah, I'm sure as we get to know drama therapy, we'll find out what's behind that. So
we'll see.
Definitely. Anybody coming in, just make sure you all hit that like and subscribe, and I'm gonna give you my little spiel on that in a minute. Drama therapy, man. Where'd you find the show? Tell us a little bit about that in the chat. Where'd you find the show? In the meantime, looks like we're starting to get some people trickling in slowly. So you know what time it is. If you're here on YouTube and you haven't already, please make sure you go ahead, click that like, that subscribe, that notification bell. Make sure you're kept up to date whenever we drop new content on the channel. If you want the audio-only version of the podcast, open up your audio podcast platform, hit the search bar, type in The Format Podcast, and we should come right up. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you give us that like, that 5-star review, and drop a comment. All that stuff helps us rise in the algorithm, helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us. And finally, make sure you write it down, put it in your phone, set an alarm, do whatever you got to do to remember. Saturday nights at 7 p.m. we are live here on the Format Podcast, and we'll give you the opportunity to call in, talk to us, get at me. I love it. I can't. In probably every generation, we kind of see that whole thing between like the father's generation and the son's generation on which one was better, who's stronger, who's faster, just overall which one is better, right? But I don't think we've ever seen it so much in sports like the way we see it in the NBA, right? And I have my thoughts on why that is. The reason I think that is, right, is because we know for a fact that the NBA changed the rules to make scoring easier. And we know for a fact that today scoring is like in a place it's never been before. We know that the NBA often doesn't call violations on certain plays, carrying carrying and traveling. We see it all the time. Yep. And so all this allows these players to do these things that are seemingly amazing, right? Yep. And so you got, guys that are a little older, like my generation, and guys that are older than me. And we're saying, hey, listen, these guys today can play, no doubt about it. But to definitively say they're so much better than the players of the past, which is what we're hearing from the younger guys, we think that's absurd because we're like, yo, they literally made the game easier for you so that you could do the things that you are out here doing, right? Yeah. And so, a lot of people want to disagree with that, blah, 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 right? Yeah, absolutely, New Breed Sports. The NBA defense is getting worse. Nah, it's been worse. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so we got a lot of that going on. And so, like I said, never in sports have I seen this kind of butting heads to the level that we're seeing it today. We got guys like Anthony Edwards, and we've talked about this ad nauseum, making idiotic statements. And I don't like to call name. I'm not calling him an idiot, but the statement was idiotic.
The statement was idiotic.
To say that Michael
would you
Jordan
say misinformed?
Player. No, idiotic. No, idiotic.
Uninformed? Okay.
Idiotic.
All right, I like it. Okay.
No, but so he, to say that Michael Jordan was the only player back in the day that had skills, and you're like, wait, what? So uninformed works as well, but also idiotic. But no, in all seriousness, we're hearing constantly, like I have a nephew that's, how old am I? He's 21, he'll be 22 next year. And he's constant, like he told me that if DeMar DeRozan played back in the day, he would be like Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan would be DeMar DeRozan today. I'm like,
did he say that?
Yeah, no, he told me that. He's 21. So like, it's like the disrespect is like beyond the pale, right? So I'm like what? Why would you? It's confounding. So anyway, I say all that to say, like, this generational battle is beyond like anything we've ever seen before, right? And so one of the biggest things we see in terms of that is obviously the GOAT debate, the Michael Jordan and LeBron James, which I've said time and time again isn't even really a debate. I don't think LeBron is anywhere close to Michael Jordan, and he has had a tremendous career, but that's not good enough. He wants to control the media. He wants to push the narrative and blah, 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 right? And there are many people out there who will tell you, say again?
Those aren't stats, but okay.
Right. But many people will tell you that he's better than Jordan, and then they'll start throwing stats at you, and I'm like, okay, clearly you don't know what you're talking about if you can only throw stats, right? Because yes, stats are important; they are a numerical representation of what took place on the floor, but they also don't give the whole story, right? They don't have context; they're just numbers. And so when not you being you, but when someone just throws stats, you can see that they're lacking context. They don't understand because maybe they didn't see the earlier eras. They don't know what the situations were. For instance, let's go back to 1990, Michael Jordan's era, right? He's going up against the bad boys, blah, blah, blah. Defense is tougher, so on and so forth, right? Different game. They're not shooting as many threes. So let's say I averaged 30 in 1990. That's incredible, right? But let's say I averaged 30 today. That's a different 30, right? Because guys can't touch you. You're shooting a lot more threes. It's just a totally different ball game. So the 30 and the 30 doesn't necessarily, it looks the same, but it's not the same. And so if you can't apply that context, then you're being misled by stats. So before I go forward, Transformer, your thoughts on what I've said so far.
I mean, you're hitting all the topics. I think when you're making the statement, the game has evolved and it's been better. The rules have changed to influence the better looking game, right?
Right.
For like when it instituted the 3-point line, folks, they couldn't shoot it when it came out. So yeah, we're gonna gripe and complain that these folks couldn't shoot threes, but that's just something that they didn't practice. Like I would need to be able to practice or know what this is to be able to be great at it. And I think, they were like, well, because we can shoot the three better. We can. I mean, they can. I mean, I'm saying we, like I'm in the NBA, but they can shoot the three better. That's because they were taught how to shoot the three at 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. These guys, grown men, had to learn to shoot the three already. So they have to develop something when they're already past a quicker developing stage. When you got, these kids grew up with the 3-point line instituted. So I think you're pretty much on base. When it comes to the evolved talk, that narrative is kind of being swayed a little bit. I saw in the chat the NBA defense is getting worse today. It is. I mean, you call a spade, but the NBA has just been a bad defensive game, and I think that's due to a lot due to the spread. I mean, it's hard to play the game 35 feet out and you can't touch anybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? I got, so at this point, you can't really stack the box. You can't load the box to stop defenders from driving. You can't really put your hands on them to stop them from shooting the three. It's a lot of dribble. James Harden came up with this carry that's now called a Euro. And the Euro changed from a Euro to now from 3 steps to 4 steps. And I think by 2030, it's going to be allowed 5 steps. So I mean, it's just like, it's so much that's changing. That's my reason I don't like to compare players from different eras, because it's so much that changes. Like if you guys know me all too well, I don't debate GOAT talk anymore. I really don't. The Jordan Bron debate is exhausting because one, they're not even the same type of player. They're not in the same era. You can't put them in the same. You can't put them in a vacuum and make the Miami Heat, LeBron James, play against the Chicago Bears. I mean, the Chicago Bulls with Michael Jordan. I can't do that. So because we say that the rules are different. The hand checking was a thing. Defenses were a lot better. So at that point, I can't put LeBron in the vacuum and send him back to 1988. I can't put Jordan 88 mentality and make it a 2024 mentality. So at that point, man, I like to break it up in eras. But you're on base, man. You're on base. It's turned into an era to where subject to change, man.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Yeah. So this is interesting, right? So we were talking about the kind of the battle of generations, one against the other. So if you look at the thumbnail, we've got on the left Mark Jackson. He's a top 10 assist guy all time, just a legitimate pure point guard from back in the day, right? New York City guy, Queens, New York. And he played for St. John's. He was on that team. I think he was there with Chris Mullin and those guys. Really, really good. I think they went to multiple Final Fours. Anyway, Mark Jackson gets drafted to the hometown New York Knicks, plays for a number of teams throughout his run in the NBA, went to the finals in 2000 with the Pacers, where they got beat by the Lakers. But that was a really good team, and he played really well. Anyway, like I said, he's a top 10 all-time assist guy, Mark Jackson. And next to him is Kenny Smith. If you were a basketball fan, you know him from inside the NBA. And he has a lot to say, another Queens, New York guy. And he has a lot to say. And he's one of those guys, right, that he kind of stands up for the older generation, but he can do it in a way where it's not really dogging the young cats, right? So anyway, I bring up Mark Jackson because he's got a podcast on Mason Cameron's network, and it's called Come and Talk to Me. And he and his son host it. And his son is kind of a guy who really, stands up for this modern era. And Mark Jackson is trying to tell him, like, listen, man, you don't really understand. And Mark Jackson, he played for a long time, so he's not trying to diss these young cats. And remember, he was also a coach, right? He coached young Steph and Clay and these guys and Draymond, right, in Golden State. So he's not trying to diss the young cats, but he's trying to tell them, listen, it was different back then, and the stuff that you're saying is disrespectful, to the old cats or whatever, right? And so, like I said, we know Kenny Smith from inside the NBA, and he's been around basketball a very long time, 2-time champion with the Houston Rockets, so on and so forth, right? And so he was on there because him and Mark Jackson go way back to New York City. They've been friends for, 30, 40 years now, right? 40 years. And so what's interesting here, and this is something I like, first, he kind of, I have a number of clips from that interview, and I'm gonna play them for you so you guys can kind of get an idea. And so first he talks about his credentials as someone who could talk basketball, right? So check this out. We'll come back and discuss it, and then we'll go down the line for clips, and we'll go from there.
Kenny talks like, sometimes I get this. Kenny talks like he was that guy. I was that guy.
Yeah.
No, I was. And
yeah.
I'm gonna say this: if there was a party that everybody who won a NBA championship, I'd be at that party.
Yeah.
Comfortably.
If there was a party where everybody had back-to-back championships, I'd be at that party too.
Yeah.
If there was a party where everybody who won college basketball player of the year, I was basketball times player of the year in college basketball, I'd be at that party. If there was a party and they say the best 50 players of high school basketball that ever played, McDonald's All-American sent me a ball, voted me one of the top 30, I'd be at that party too. Yeah. So I've been at a lot of parties.
So I like the way he put that, right? And this is because, I think the way, part of this is the media's fault too, like ring culture and all of that, and heavy promotion of individual stats, right? But Kenny Smith has a point here, right? He's like, yo, listen, like, I was that guy, I'm a starter on a back-to-back championship team, I'm freaking All-American in college. I'm player of the year in college. He's one of the 30 best. McDonald's All-America voted him one of the 30 best high school players ever. Like, I knew he was mad nice in high school. I didn't know he was that crazy, right? So anyway, to say this, I love the fact that he's laying out his credentials for you before he starts talking, because he's like, yo, I'm not trying to hear, oh, Kenny, he was a bum. He shouldn't be talking. What are your thoughts on that, man? I like how he did that.
I'm not just no average Joe talking.
Right.
I'm like that.
Yeah.
I'm like that, and that speaks I mean, what he says speaks volume, man. Like, I'm not just some, spectator. I'm not an analyzer. I'm not a, no offense to you, but journalist or anything like that, who's just commenting on a game that I didn't play professionally. No, bro, I've been here, and I've been at a professional level. I've been at a championship level, won a championship.
Right.
Played against the greats, played with some greats.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking legend type greats.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So no, absolutely, man. Kenny's gonna flex.
Yeah. I like how he did that though. I never, people talk like, oh, Kenny thinks he's the guy. I was that guy.
Yeah, nah. Kenny the
I thought
Jet,
that was
bro.
really cool.
Like, come on, man.
Nah,
Kenny
hey.
got it. When you get a nickname for a good reason, bro, you
The
did
Jet.
something in the NBA.
Yeah.
Kenny
Yeah.
the Jet, bro.
Yeah.
You did something.
That's right. That's right. All right. So here's the thing. Remember, I told you a little while ago that my cousin said that if Michael Jordan played today, he'd be DeMar
Okay,
DeRozan.
you can elaborate on it. That's
Right.
what I've been waiting on.
Yeah, so it's weird. It's weird to me. I don't know why. A
know.
lot of people seem to make this strange. I don't know if they're deliberately trying to be disrespectful or what, but they make this strange DeMar DeRozan Michael Jordan comparison. I don't know where it comes from, other than DeMar DeRozan is a very good mid-range shooting guard. I don't know. Like, where does that come from? It's really, really weird to me. And I'm like, wait, what? So anyway, yeah,
go ahead. I don't know. I'm trying to wrap my head around it.
Crazy, right? Crazy.
I've never seen a takeover gene like anywhere near Michael Jordan from DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah.
We forget that part of Mike,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Mike had a takeover gene.
Mm-hmm.
DeMar DeRozan doesn't have that takeover gene. Like, hey,
DeMar DeRozan could play. He's had a very good NBA career, but
very good NBA career.
Yeah.
But I just saw his team literally be scared of a man named LeBron James.
Mm-hmm. That's
literally
true.
Get cooked year by year.
That's true.
Have a better record.
That's
Mind
true.
you, Bron didn't have a better record in Cleveland.
That's true.
So, like, I'm the number one seed. Yeah, I'm the big bad Toronto Raptors, and and Bron literally comes back single-handedly and wipes y'all out.
No, you're right.
You're right. So at that point, I at least say Jordan would make a fighting stance against the Detroit Pistons. He didn't go down like a chump. I mean, yes, he got swept, but the man.
But he came back.
40,
they came back better and better every time until they beat
better,
him.
Better and better. You know what I mean? So
right.
Yeah.
So my nephew then says that if DeMar DeRozan, who I think we can admit today is slightly above average player, right?
Yeah, I would definitely say that. Yeah.
He would be a superstar. He would be like Jordan back in the day, right? And I'm like, whoa. So there's this prevailing sentiment among younger basketball fans, et cetera, that these guys are so much better athletes and they're so much more skilled today that everybody would be a superstar back in the day, right? And I'm like, where y'all getting this from? So
that's the thing. All right, and I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. Go ahead, man.
The lack of two things, right? Lack of education and understanding, because we all got these. Right?
Yeah.
We all got these.
Correct.
You can research things. Today's era doesn't like the research to look up anything.
They do not.
Past 2010.
They do not.
You know what I mean? They don't look past that. And I think
that's correct.
That's a huge part of like the Anthony Edwards comment. Like he was like, oh man, other than Jordan, I mean, it wasn't no athletes back then. Them folks wasn't running a point like me or guarding like me, but there was. We just didn't see it.
That's right.
I think with the lack with that mindset that they're just like, because that comment it baffles me a little bit, bro. Like there's not one part of the game other than just mid-range shooting. I would say that anything was similar from Michael Jordan and DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah,
there's nothing else.
Yeah, it's
his
weird.
Athletic ability. No, Michael Jordan was like his athletic ability was off the planet. You can look that up. You can look that up. You can see that. Those are highlights about that. The takeover gene. There are highlights about that. The shutdown defender. There are highlights about that. Yeah.
No doubt. Yeah.
I
great comment. New breed. Drexler, Barkley, Grant Hill, Penny will go crazy in today's game. Now you're right. You're absolutely right. All right. So back to that part. So yeah, there's this prevailing sentiment among the younger fans. Matter of fact, not even just the younger fans. I'm gonna tell you what my uncle told me. I was so ashamed when he told me this. He said if Larry Bird played today, he couldn't get off the bench. He would be a bench player. I'm like, what? I'm like, apparently you've never seen Luka Doncic. He's out here killing all these dudes, but Bird couldn't play today. Are we freaking serious right now? And this is a dude that's 12 years older than me. I said, the disrespect is absurd. I can't believe it. But
what was it? Did he give you a reason behind it? Like, what was his purpose of saying Larry Bird to come off the bench?
I gotta believe by saying something like that, he was just trying to antagonize me. I can't imagine any other reason an intelligent person whose brain works properly would say something like that.
Yeah,
I can't.
I do give the Celtics a whole lot of crap, but there's one Celtic I will forever respect, and that man's name is Larry Bird. Greatest white man ever touch a basketball. That's without
He's a
question.
bad dude. Bad
I
dude.
mean, Jokic and these guys can do what they want. Larry Bird will walk when he walked to the locker room and said, "Which one of y'all coming in second?" Yeah, bro, that's enough for me. And we can go out there and win it.
Facts. Tell them and then go do it. That's the crazy.
Tell them and they're gonna do it. Which one of y'all coming in second, man? I ain't got time for all this. When the man literally told y'all he was gonna shoot the ball and shoot the game left-handed. I'm shooting left-handed today.
Yeah,
and drop.
I'm saving my right hand for the Lakers.
What was it?
Yeah, I think it was a 40-point triple-double, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, bro. But
and he played most of the game lefty.
It's because he was saving his hand.
He's saving his right hand for the Lakers. Yeah. Yeah, there was another game.
Your ass doing this,
there was a game that I think Magic was hurt, and so Bird gets there and Magic is sitting on the bench. Don't worry, Irvin, I'm gonna put on a show for you today. And he went off for him. He went off.
I got you, bro. I got you.
Yeah, and that's the same thing Magic would do too. So it's okay.
Oh, absolutely. Bird on the bench. He's like, "Hey, man,
I got you. Watch this. Showtime.
Here. I got you."
I love it. Yeah, man. But yeah, so it's crazy. So the disrespect and the belief that average players today would be superstars back then. So here's what Kenny Smith had to say about that. So all these clips again are from Mark Jackson's Come and Talk to Me podcast. And so his son was there and he couldn't believe it. But here's what Kenny Smith had to say about that.
Yep.
Because you can shoot the ball from half court and it goes in doesn't make you an impactful player. It doesn't. And there are certain guys that can translate in each era, for sure. But there are guys who are average players that think that they would have translated to be great players, and it's insane. It's insane.
And he's right about that. But what I will say, the average players from back then.
For some reason, I couldn't hear it. So
you couldn't.
Yeah, I couldn't hear it.
Let's see if we get. My bad. I heard it. Let's see.
Because you can shoot the ball from half court and it goes in doesn't make you an impactful player. It doesn't. And there are certain guys that can translate in each era, for sure. But there are guys who are average players that think that they would have translated to be great players, and it's insane. It's insane.
Okay. Yeah, I got you. I can hear it that time.
So I'll tell you, I agree with him on that, and the reason why. I think that the average players or the above average players from back then would be even better today, but not vice versa. And the reason I say that is because, again, the way the game was called back then and the physicality, it's a much more difficult learning curve to go back to that versus to come into a game where you could pretty much do whatever you want. Like, what? They gonna let me do this? They gonna let me do that? What? I can go down the paint. I'm not getting. Oh my goodness! One of the people I like to point out is Mark Price. If Mark Price played today, he would be killing. He was 50, 40, 90 back then. He was a pure point guard that could shoot it, that could defend, that could score, that could pass.
But a player I think that he's hinting at?
Mm-hmm.
Trae Young.
Yeah, Trae Young would. Yeah, he would have a really hard time back then. Coaches would not be letting him pull up from 30.
You're not pulling up from 30.
Yeah, and he doesn't defend.
You can't defend.
That's
You're
right.
so small.
Mm-hmm.
You drive in the paint with the same floater.
Right.
That the hand check will take him out. He would be taken out of the. I don't think he would make the court.
Yeah, I think he'd be irrelevant. Yeah,
he plays a small man's game. Like Curry has a dribble to kind of get around you because he could face you square up. Trae doesn't.
So Muggsy was small. He was 5'3", but he was strong.
He was a bully. Tough. Yeah, he was a bully.
Yeah, same thing with Spud Webb. So that's the difference. But I'm glad you brought up hand checking because this was something else that Kenny Smith talked about. For those of y'all, man, who really want to, you got to watch this whole interview. It's really, really good. It actually got split into 2 parts because I guess they were talking about a whole lot of stuff, but it was a really good interview. And so I just have the clip here. You're going to hear the sound, but if you watch the interview, you will actually see him demonstrating how hand checking can affect you as a ball handler. But check this out, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
He's hand checking me. Because he's hand checking, I have to turn this way. Yeah. Without the hand check, I can face up here. Now I become a better passer because I have my peripheral is now at 75 degrees, where here it's at 50.
Yeah.
I'm better passer because I could see more. I'm a better ball handler because I can play with it. You can't touch me. I'm a better shooter because now my feet are squared up to the rim. Here, I have to turn, and you can see me turn.
Yeah.
Now I can, hey. And I can,
All right. You still moving.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right, that was nice.
there, boy.
That was nice. Yeah.
without the hand check, it makes, and when people, and this is no disrespect because these guys are great ball handlers, Steph, Kyrie, and all those great, unbelievable. But it makes them better. James Harden, it makes you a better ball handler because you're playing with the ball and no one's touching you. So now the stuff that you do in the playground that we grew up doing in the playground, that's the stuff you could actually do in a game now. If you went to a playground game and saw Mark Jackson, you saw myself, you saw Kenny Anderson, you saw Shamgard, you saw all these guys from the eras that we come in.
Skip.
You'd be like, what the heck? Oh my. But when you get in the NBA, you can't face up.
So that's another thing I've been telling younger cats all the time. And again, if you want to see what he was doing, he was actually demonstrating the difference between having to bring the ball down kind of with your back to the defender because of the hand check versus, being able to face up because the defender can't touch you in the modern NBA. So of course, if I have a full field of vision because I'm faced up already, it makes me a superior. Well, it makes me a better passer because I can see more, right? So I may rack up better numbers or find cutters more easily, et cetera, right? Or I'm faced up so I can pull up right there versus you having time to react to me because my back was towards you. Now I have to pivot in order to face up and shoot, right? So it's a lot of things that he was talking about that really makes a lot of sense in terms of the effect that hand checking had on guards back then. Go ahead.
Did he have to say it?
Yes, he did have to say it because you got all these people who are so quick to talk about how today's ball handlers are so much better, right? And it's just not true, right?
No. I'm sorry. Not to throw you off your talk right there. Not that. Go back and just take the same guy, or just go out there on the court. You guys are players. We're players, right? We all played some type of street ball at some point in time, right? Go out there and apply hand checking to a game.
Mm-hmm.
And see the difference. You know what I mean? Like, did he have to say that? That's the problem I have. You know what I mean? Like, can we go back and be like, okay, take the same metric of hand check, take the hand check rule and apply it. And let's see if you just tell you're in the off season and you're doing your drills, right? And you're like, hey man, you playing the hand checking there, right? Yeah, I did. Hey man, hand check me real quick. Let's see if I can get these dribbles off. And you see how hard it is. You're like, God, I can't get around them. I can't get past them. What's going on? Like, you can learn that. You can understand that because it's applied to you. That's what I'm saying. Like, before we just get off on these dumb tangents, like, we don't know what a hand checking is, ball handling and stuff like that. Like, okay, well, go in the off season, apply the hand checking rule, and see if you can do it still. If you can do it still, then you got spec. And that's not taking away that these guys are very great ball handlers.
Exactly.
But you're allowed to develop that because the hand check rule was taken away so long ago.
Right. And think about the other thing, right? Think about the other thing. So he's talking, remember, this is a New York City guy, right? And New York City used to, produce some of the best guards in the country, like New York, Philly, DC, right? Baltimore, those spots really produced a lot of great guards. Chicago, right? Gritty playground type dudes. And all those dudes' handles were crazy. But back then, when you came into the league or you start playing organized ball like Division I college ball or you got into the league, coaches would tell you, leave all that stuff on the playground. Don't play with the ball. These defenders are going to take it from you, right? And so now they're looking back and they're saying, oh, man, them dudes back then couldn't handle the ball. No, they weren't allowed to carry. They weren't allowed to travel, and they weren't allowed to play with the ball because those defenders, they were hand check you with one hand and then reach around you and poke the ball out with the other one. Right.
And
so
they couldn't do a dribble step, but then the gather step doesn't count. I can take two more steps and I can let off a jump shot. I still don't understand it.
Yeah. And then think about
2K, man. I'd be playing 2K. I'd be like, bro, that's wow. Why is the whistle not being blown? But that's not a travel no more. Like,
real talk. They put the gather step in to allow these guys to travel. It's all BS. You gotta push the narrative.
The James Harden way, bro.
Yeah. But
it's a travel, bro. It's a travel.
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, so I loved Kenny really breaking that down. And so what he's getting to in this whole thing is he's getting to a more in-depth breakdown of why Michael Jordan is the most complete basketball player who's ever played, right? So he gets to that, and he's going to talk about this. Now, this particular clip is longer, so bear with me, but he's going to drop a lot of science in this one. So just, chill and listen to this, and then we'll come back, give our thoughts, and kind of wrap it up with some calls from you guys, and then we'll call it a night. But this one is longer, so just bear with us.
Michael Jordan was the most complete basketball player that's ever lived. Complete. Like Kareem was just as effective. Certain people LeBron at times could be just as effective. But the most complete basketball player that ever lived is Michael Jordan. Completeness.
Preach.
So like his ability to do every aspect of basketball at the highest level. And I think that came from going to college. Because in college, the best...
I'm glad you're talking. I say that when he got to the pros, he had no weaknesses.
He had no weaknesses. Because what happens is, what college does, the best coaches are in college basketball. Because there's more. The best ones are there. So they design defenses and offenses that are different from the NBA. So you learn how to play against a zone defense. You learn how to play against a man-to-man, 1-3-1, 2-1-2. Different defenses. NBA is just strict man-to-man. But your philosophies and thought process is from a totality of all of those defenses. Yeah. So now the game is easier for you, and you're much more easier. What I always say about Michael, what's different between even the great Kobe Bryant and great LeBron James is he was still the most fundamental basketball player. Like LeBron's IQ is crazy, but the most fundamental, when you watch LeBron, you don't always say he's most fundamental. Yeah. So correct hand in the passing lane. But that was Michael. He was the best athlete and the most fundamental because he went to college for 3 years and developed certain things, Even I was laughing with my son. He goes, I saw you dunking in the league, but you like 3 years of it. I'm like, because I had 4 in college. Yeah. I would have never stayed in college for 4 years in today. I was first team All-American. I would have been on a draft board. Yeah. So I would have never stayed. It was wrong to leave. Like then it was called hardship. Like it almost meant you were broke. Like, and your family was destitute if you went to the NBA instead of going to college for 4 years. That was the stigma that they had on us. So we would everybody, I ain't going to college. I ain't leaving college yet. I ain't broke. I ain't like that. I ain't one of them dudes. Yeah. So you stay. So I had 4 years where I'm jumping from the free throw line. That was in college. Then I caught 2 or 3 years in there. So 7 years. So I'm like, you just missed my most athletic years. It was some of them were in college. Yeah. Michael Jordan, those 3 years in college, imagine he only went 1 year. Oh my God. Or none. Michael Jordan, most complete basketball player. Y'all average dudes would have been average. Y'all would have been average. You wouldn't have been great. You would not have been. You're a specialist. You might not have been in the league.
There are people that believe, as crazy as it sounds, I've heard this and I'm sure you've heard it, that there's a dude in prison or a dude in the streets that was better than Michael Jordan, just didn't get an opportunity. There's people that believe that.
Listen, man. That's like saying there's a dude in prison that could have done what Steve Jobs done.
It's not my opinion.
I didn't say you. I said
Michael Jordan.
You heard that argument.
I've heard that before.
He's the Bill Gates, the Steve Jobs of basketball. Yeah. Is there a guy? If he's there, I hope he gets out. But that guy.
It depends on what he did.
Depending on what he did, I hope he gets out. I hope it was like a Mr. Beast. Because that's what it would be like. I hope he gets out. Yeah. Because that dude, I don't know where he is. There's no one like that. He is the most complete basketball player. And then there's 2. There's 2. Yeah. Most effective, like LeBron James is effective. He can impact the game. But I just don't think defensively is where that's the separation to me.
So I think he had some really good stuff to say there. I like the way he lays his argument out, right? And
I think it's fair.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense, and he does it in a way that I think is really cool because he doesn't insult the new guys. He just says, "Yo, like this is what it is," and that said, a lot of the new guys, if you don't worship them, they think you're insulting them. So I don't know. They become insulted. So I don't know, but I really like the way Kenny laid that out. And I do believe Michael Jordan was the most complete player of all time. I think the second most complete player of all time is probably either Kobe or Olajuwon. Like I do. Yeah, it was good, man. What stuck out to you about what Kenny Smith had to say there?
What really did is that he said the guy in prison, he's Steve Jobs.
So.
Steve Jobs be in prison.
Yeah,
he could be Bill Gates. He in prison. Yeah. He was like, maybe when he gets out, he can prove it. It depends on what he did.
I know.
Hey, that was a great way to end that one, man. But I mean, from a developmental standpoint, he said that there was ways you were developed, but like at this point, Kenny needs to understand they didn't institutionalize the AAU part of ball until after he was gone. And I think once the AAU started becoming a big thing, because now we're training these kids from middle school and high school level, and we're kind of we started putting cameras in their faces and we're putting them on the media. At this point, it became more of a, you guys can see on film, on video, because we all got these, right?
Yeah.
How good I am, right? I'm going to go to college. I only need 1 year in college. Why? Because you guys seen on film how good I am against other high school average Joes who are probably 90% of them are going to go get regular jobs after they graduate high school. And then after they graduate college, they're going to go get regular jobs. Now, all this video, I need to be able to see that in NBA. So now these GMs, general managers, and league owners, they're like, oh man, that guy was the biggest talent in high school. Get him. Why? Dollars. GM, hey, that guy was the biggest talent in high school. Why? Because I saw it on YouTube. He was dribbling those kids crazy. Like that takes away the developmental standpoint. So now, instead of 3-4 years in college, 1 year is all you need.
You know what's crazy about that?
Gotta do 1 year.
What's crazy about that is now if you stay 4 years, like the scouts look on as a knock on you, instead of saying you took the time, you finished your degree, and you became more developed as a basketball player. They're like, if he was good, he would have came out already. What's going on? And I'm like, that's crazy to me.
We just drafted that guy. Connect. Connect 4. We call him Connect 4. Connect 4. He played all 4 years. But he fell. He dropped in the draft because everybody was like, I mean, he's a little old. He's 22 already.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah.
LeBron's 40.
Right.
But at this point, I mean, we doing a lot of averages. Cut 40 to 26, put that in half. I mean, at least he's going to be able to play till he's 32 or something, bro. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a whole different world, man. But yeah, it's so. I think Kenny Smith did kill the GOAT debate here because, again, like I always say, I don't think there is a debate, but I think he killed it. But he killed it with kindness because he didn't really attack. He didn't go all the way in attack mode the way he could have, but he said and demonstrated a lot of things that showed like it's not quite what you think. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that was pretty cool how he presented it. Now will a lot of people from this generation hear and internalize that and really listen? I don't think so.
Oh no, that's not your question. Never mind.
Yeah. I don't think they will, but I do like the way he presented it.
Yeah, I think this generation is going to justify that. Kenny, it's 2024. My bad that we grew up in this era. That's what we know. That's what the game evolved to. I can't go back and play in the 80s and 90s to impress you or say that I'm the better player. That's why when Jordan said it, we should have all agreed. You guys all agree that majority agrees that Jordan is the GOAT, right? The GOAT told you. Like, I don't know why y'all compare, like calling me the GOAT, because I mean, honestly,
I can't go back and compete against those guys.
I can't go back and compete against those guys.
That's right.
So if I like, he was like, y'all say I'm the GOAT because I got 6 rings. He was like, but Bill Russell got 11.
He did say that.
He's better than me, right? Okay. Did I play with? I never played against Bill Russell. Never even saw him on the court in the same breath. I wasn't even the same breath as Bill Russell.
That's right.
When he was in his prime. So he was like, you guys bringing in these new accounts, like, okay, he got a chance to be the GOAT. of his time, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I was the best of my time. I can say I'm the best of my time.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Russell was the best of his time.
Right.
Kobe was the best, like his time in the league.
Right.
That's all you can compare the
Mm-hmm.
play to, the style to, the
Yeah.
rules to, the era to.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what these kids could have been if they grew up with a 80s mentality, 90s direction, and hustle and grind and grit with their athleticism. Who knows what they could have been? So I can't dignify everything Kenny's saying just because of that. Like, yes, he's saying why his era is great and his era is greater. That's in his right. But that shouldn't be able to, you shouldn't be able to take that away from these kids because it's not their fault. It's not my fault.
It's not their fault.
I grew up in that era. Blame the commissioner, league owners, and the people who make the rule book. Blame them.
No, so I get that, but the only thing, and this is something I've always said, no, it's not their fault when they're born. They can only play against who they play against and under the rules that are in place when they play. Yeah. That said, at the end of the day, if we know for a fact that the game is easier now, we know that for a fact. That's not an opinion. We know the game is easier now. How can you look at the guys that came before you and paved the way for you to get all this bread and all this notoriety and all that and say, yo, we're better than you and the game is better than it was when you played? Like that, that's the part that kills me.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I agree with that. I mean, I got nothing to say about that because at that point, now you're picking the reason why they should talk about your era and why Kenny Smith needs to go out and tell you guys things that obviously were forgotten, like things like the hand checking was taken away, things like, hey, 3-4 years in college, that's gone. AAU wasn't a thing. Defense was able to play defense. The 3-point line wasn't institutionalized until we got there, and we were like, oh crap, we got to learn how to shoot the 3-point shot. GMing was different. You wasn't able to jump from team to team. You wasn't able to kind of put your career in your own hands. This is kind of like the player movement era. Back then, you crippled if you got drafted by the Wizards. I mean, you're stuck with the Wizards. I'm sorry. I mean, you can't force your way out. There's no way out of that contract. So everything's different. Like I said, the mentality of guys. I meet a lot of old brothers, old fellas, because I have more of an old soul myself that grew up in the 80s and the 70s. And they always say, man, these 90s babies, boy, they crazy, man. They young. They don't know what they're doing. I'd be like, yo, chill. I was born in 1990. They're like, yo, for real? Boy, you don't act like them young bucks, boy. I promise you don't act like them young bucks. And I'm like, well, I was conceived in the 80s, so that's why I'm gonna claim the 80s. But like the mindset of the newer generation is just completely different. So I can't be able to dignify and put a GOAT debate or a comparison, a direct line comparison, because when I want to compare stuff, I have to have an even playing field.
Yeah, apples to apples. I got you.
Scientists only judge the difference between something if it's on an even scale. That's how they found out what thing is better. If I can't put you on an even scale, I can't tell you who's better. I can't tell you Braun was better than Jordan because of this. I can't tell you Jordan was better than Braun because of this. They didn't play at the same time.
Nah, I hear what you're saying. No. That's legit though.
You know what I'm saying? Like me being real, like I can't judge that. Who knows if Braun, the way athletic as he is, if he learned the grime and grit way, that he probably would have learned it and came out a different player. Who knows if Jordan wasn't born in the grime and grit way? He was born in the social media era, that he just turned out to be just another DeMar DeRozan, like your nephew said. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I don't know, man. So that's why I mean I like what Kenny said, man. I like the perspective.
Yeah, I like what he said a lot too.
But yeah,
it's good stuff.
That goes back to why we should break it down by era and then just leave it at that.
I'm with you. I've always said that. So you want to open up these phone lines, see if we got anything?
Yeah.
All right, let's do that. So let's go ahead and I'm going to put the number in the chat, 904-219-8264. And it's scrolling on the bottom of the screen. At this point, we'd love to hear from you before we go ahead and end the show for tonight. What were your thoughts on what Kenny Smith had to say? What were your thoughts on what I had to say? What are your thoughts on what Transformer had to say? GOAT debate, era comparison in the NBA. What are your thoughts? Let's get it.
Yeah. I tell you what, they sat back and listened in that chat. They was like, you know what, man?
Kenny dropping jewels.
Yeah. Well, they probably just exhausted, man. Like, bro, man, here we go to debate again. I did like, and I'm gonna shout out Opinion Stated here. I did like he posted earlier that man, just tired. He's like, bro, it's just
Yeah, I
getting
get that too.
it's getting a little bit more childish than it is us just appreciating the player. Like
No
we're
doubt,
so
no doubt.
willing, and I'm saying this both ways. I'm not going to
No, I get it.
but we try so hard to say why Jordan's the greatest that we find every way to look at LeBron and be like, yeah, nah, he did this. That's why he a bum and blah 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 blah. Vice versa, this new era who didn't see Jordan, like man, Jordan. I mean, LeBron is the greatest. Why? Because I mean, Jordan played against plumbers. Blah 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 blah. We're so busy, like we're dementalizing what these guys are doing as players when honestly we should just respect what they did for the game of basketball. These guys were at the top of their game for well beyond the greatest years of their career. And they're kind of setting the tone and they're etched in history. And I think with all the GOAT debating, we're finding ways to now disrespect the opposing players and not just accept the greatness that's in front of us, when we're watching the game. So that's just me. That's me. And I like what Opinion Stated, put on this podcast. So shout out Opinion Stated, man. That was dope.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you all want some more good sports content, man, check out Opinion Stated. Good show. Go ahead and subscribe to that young man's channel. He's got some good stuff there. I was binge watching some of his stuff yesterday.
Yeah. No, I definitely chimed in. And by the way, I'm not from Baltimore. He thinks we're all from Baltimore.
No, I told him you're not from B-More. I told him that.
Oh, because when I was watching this show, he was like, "Yeah, man, I think they're all from Baltimore." And I felt like he was live, so I tried to
let him know. I'll let him know.
Like, bro, I have nowhere near. I've never even been to Baltimore.
Yeah, he was born in DC. I was born in DC also. So.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
So that was interesting. Yeah.
That's nice. That's dope.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're not gonna have any calls on this one. I expected to hear some pushback or some agreement on this, but all right. So we're gonna leave it right here, man. So everybody who came in the show, came in the chat and hung with us for a couple hours, I appreciate it, man. Thanks so much for coming by. Remember, that share button is powerful, man. Please, on the way out, if you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button and hit the share button, man. Let more people know about this show and this channel. We are working hard to bring quality content, and I got some more stuff coming down the pipe for you all as well. So, yeah. And Saturday night, you on Saturday night, right, Transform?
Yep. Me and G gonna hold it down.
So,
hopefully,
all right, yeah. So
the internet doesn't go down. If not, if I have to run a show by myself, boy, be prepared because the show is gonna feature nothing but the Lake Show, baby. Yeah,
that's all good. So yeah, G and Transformer they're gonna hold the show down Saturday night. Meanwhile, I will be in South Bend, Indiana, under the Golden Dome and Touchdown Jesus, watching.
Who y'all playing again for the chat?
Irish. Miami of Ohio should be an easy win. Should be.
Okay, I was about to say.
Right. Yeah. We
before that should have been.
Yeah, I was about to say we sometimes have problems with wins that should be easy. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. So anyway,
but man, you gotta go out there and do great, man. Good luck. I mean, safe travels for you, Bruce.
Appreciate that.
We're praying that you land safe, you get back home safe, all 10 toes, 10 fingers. And go Irish, man. I mean, I'm not a biased type of fan. Go Irish, man.
That's love. Yeah. But probably I got to get with Ryan, but we probably should have a college football show tomorrow night as well. And I might have something else before I roll out, so we'll see. But yeah, so Saturday night, check back in, and if you subscribed already, make sure you hit that notification bell so man, because sometimes I just wake up and I do some stuff. So
y'all better chime in, because when it's just me hosting this thing, boy, last time G said, boy, Bruce might lose his page. He put wrong two brothers in charge. It's gonna be a great time, man. So definitely tune in Saturday, man. Yes. We're gonna let Bruce go and enjoy the game. Go Irish once again. They're gonna beat the crap out of Miami, Ohio. And me and G gonna be holding it down, man. We're gonna have some fun, guys. So definitely tune in.
All right, y'all, and we out. Peace.